I'm Jesse Call, the founder of Fans First Entertainment and owner of the Savannah Bananas, and I'm on Dov Baron's Leadership Show, and we're going to talk about loving your customers more than your product and loving your employees more than your customers. Stay tuned.
Congratulations! You are tuned into Dov Baron's Leadership and Loyalty Show, the #1 podcast for Fortune 500 executives and those who are dedicated to creating a quantum leap in leadership. Your host, Dov Baron, is the founder of FullMontyLeadership.com. He's an executive mentor to leaders like you, a contributing writer for Entrepreneur Magazine, CEO World, and he's been featured on CNN, Fox, CBS, and many other notable sites. Dov Baron is an international business speaker who was named by Inc. magazine as one of the top 100 leadership speakers to hire. Now, over to Dov Baron.
Welcome, dear friends, fans, and fellow aficionados of leadership excellence. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Dov Baron's Leadership and Loyalty Tips for Executives, part of the Full Monty interview series. I'm your host, Dov Baron. I'm the founder of Full Monty Leadership, and I'm here to assist you tapping into your deep greatness so that you can reach that next level of clarity, focus, purpose, and profit in your business, your life, and your leadership impact. Today, we're going to take an insider look at loving your customers more than your products and loving your employees even more than your customers. And if you are listening right now, I want to encourage you to go over to our Facebook page where you can chat about this episode or any past episodes. Just go to Facebook and look for the Leadership and Loyalty podcast. And we'll be there. We're going to chat with you right there as well as the show broadcasts. If you're a new listener, new viewer, thank you for joining us. Strap yourself in. We're about to go full Monty. Remember, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you tune into podcasts. And also remember that we need your help in staying relevant. So please get yourself over to iTunes, rate, review, and subscribe to the show. When you do so, please, again, go to that Leadership and Loyalty podcast page on Facebook and let's chat. You can also catch us on traditional radio stations across the United States. Every Monday and Thursday, we are broadcasting out from 96.3 FM in Boulder, Colorado, all the way over to 94.7 in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, where I just came back from. Also look for us on Roku TV, where we got over 100,000 subscribers on there, so check us out on there. We are grateful to be cited as the #1 podcast globally for Fortune 500 listeners, and with a potential listenership of 2.5 to 4 million listeners for every show. We're honored and grateful to be cited by Inc.com as the #1 podcast to make you a better leader. And remember, you can find us on Google Home and Alexa. Simply say, play Dov Baron's podcast. Thank you for sharing this show with everybody you know. Strap yourself in. We're about to go full Monty, so let's dive right in. As a leader, whether you're a CEO, someone in the C-suite, sales leader, entrepreneur, or leader in any capacity, you know that loyalty is a huge issue. It's what I wrote my last book all about. And whether you're talking about being loyal as in keeping your top talent or the loyalty of your customers, the question is, what does it actually take? And are you willing to go against what everyone else tells you to do in order to create that loyalty? In fact, are you willing to stand out and even risk being ridiculed in order to get that loyalty? Well, stay tuned, because our guest today is the owner of Fans First Entertainment. He also owns and operates the Savannah Bananas baseball team. He has been featured on MSNBC, CNN, and multiple times on ESPN. He is an in-demand speaker, author, and the author of Find Your Yellow Tux. His team, the Savannah Bananas, have sold out every game for 2 straight seasons and have a waiting list of thousands for tickets. The Bananas have won Organization of the Year back-to-back and Entrepreneur of the Year, and were the CPL Champions in the first year of them existing. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the founder of Fans First Entertainment, owner of the Savannah Bananas, author of Find Your Yellow Tux, How to Be Successful by Standing Up, stepping up to the microphone to knock it out of the park. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man in the yellow tux himself, Jesse Cole.
See, now I want to start cheering, Dov. I absolutely love it. Glad to be on your show. And you said strap on, strap in, get ready. I think you put the two of us together. Good luck to the listeners. We're going to have some fun.
Exactly. I'm glad to have you here, mate. We should just let everybody know this will probably be a shorter episode because we had technical nightmares getting this together. But we did it, and we have dumped the stress that we started with. We've got here. I am actually really looking forward to having Jesse on the show. Jesse was very kind and generous in having me on his show, which is broadcast, and you probably find it. Go search out Jesse's podcast. Tell us the name of the podcast, Jesse.
Business Done Differently.
Business Done Differently. And I'll tell you, it's not only Business Done Differently, it's a podcast done differently. It's a great show. Loved being a guest on there. We had a lot of fun. And you've had great guests on there, including some of the guests we've had on, some of our friends, including Joe Calloway. Great show. So I just want to give that a big plug before we start. So if you're listening to my show, I would recommend that you go over and find Jesse's show and subscribe to that too. It's a great show. So again, thanks for being here, mate. Really want to thank you for joining us. And before we start, here's where I want to jump into. We're recording this, and it is very close to Father's Day, and I want to say congratulations on your first Father's Day. You just became a dad.
Thank you. Yes, Maverick, 6 weeks old on Father's Day. It was a great memory and a lot of fun. And yeah, your life changes when you start having kids. So I'm still running around like crazy at the ballpark, but now Maverick's a part of it as well.
Maverick, what a great name. Maverick. Yeah, that's so inappropriate for you.
Of course it fits. Maverick, independent, easy, free spirit, do their own thing. I mean, that's what we want for him.
That's wonderful. I saw the pictures of him, and I believe you've got him a yellow outfit, of course.
Of course, he's got his little yellow tuxedo ready to run around the ballpark.
That is fantastic, mate. That's really good. Now, the whole basis of what it is you do with your company and even with Savannah Bananas is you believe that to be successful, you need to stand out by being different. That must have met with some resistance because you're in Savannah. I'm imagining that they were not too enthusiastic about the potential of you being this, shall we say, out-of-the-box guy for that area.
Yeah, we're in the baseball business, but we're really in the entertainment business. And I think everyone expected a baseball team. And I ask that question always, what business are you in? What business are you really in? And we realized that we had to be completely out of the box to be successful. Because I'll say it right here, baseball to many is long, slow, and boring. And the fan participation, the fans are getting older. There's less people coming to games. So we had to be completely out of the box. And that's why our players do choreographed dances. We have a senior citizen dance team, a breakdancing first base coach. It's a circus. And so that's how our model changed. And Savannah, at first, Doug, they were terrible. They were like, basically, you're never going to be successful. We didn't sell any tickets. They were like, who are these guys? But eventually they caught on, and it's been a wild ride since.
So how long did you took over since you've taken over?
We came in October of 2015, so almost 3 years.
So 3 years. How, because this is, I think, is a very familiar story for entrepreneurs because you initially meet with massive resistance, right? So how long before that resistance turned into acceptance and enthusiastic acceptance? Because there must have been a point in that resistance where you're thinking, we got $12 left in the bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I give it a basic timeline. October we came in. The former team had cut the phone lines, cut the internet lines. There was literally nothing at the stadium. And we were working on a picnic table, myself, my wife, our president, who was 24 years old, and 3 people right out of college at 22 years old. Wow. And we went running around this town saying, we're going to be different. We're going to have all-you-can-eat tickets, a circus. And we sold 1 season ticket in the first 2 months. And it got so bad by January, I got a call Friday afternoon at 4:45 that we overdrafted our account. We had no money left, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And my wife and I, we were driving back from a wedding, and she turned to me, she said, we have no other option. We have to sell our house. So we sold our dream house. We emptied out our savings account, everything we had, and we said we're going all in and moved down to Savannah and got an airbed. We're sleeping on an airbed and just trying to make ends meet. And it was an unbelievable struggle. And it wasn't until the end of February when we announced the team name as the Savannah Bananas and showed everyone this craziness that we were going to happen at the ballpark that finally people started to pay attention. And that's what I tell a lot of people, attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. We were marketing for those first 4 or 5 months stuff, just no one cared. But it wasn't until people realized the Savannah Bananas, that's crazy. And we got criticized. People were saying you should be thrown out of town, you were an embarrassment, but we had their eyes and ears. And once we had that, then all of a sudden people started buying tickets, realizing what we're about, and it just kind of took off from there.
So we come to the basic question of a why here. Not just for you, Jesse, but also for your wife. I mean, you're selling your dream house. You're going to go sleep on an air mattress. What's the why? At that point, what is the why? What is it that's driving you? What is the purpose that drives you and your wife to go all in when everything is saying no, don't bother?
Back in 2011, we had a game, and there was a young man in our town who was very popular, everything in the high school, and he went overseas to fight for his country. And unfortunately, he was killed at 21 years old. And the entire community rallied behind this. And this was with our team in Gastonia, North Carolina. They rallied behind us, and we said, we got to do a game and a tribute to him. So we had a game, a Salute the Troops night, and we honored him on the field. And we invited the mother, the father, the sister, the grandparents, the girlfriend, and we took them on the field, and we had 2 Marines deliver a jersey to the parents. And as we did that, we read a tribute for 2 minutes. And what I noticed was 4,000 people standing, and you could hear a pin drop. It was 90 degrees outside, and I had goosebumps. And at that moment, I looked around and was blown away. And the mother walked off the field and gave me the biggest hug I've ever received. At that point, I ran into the office, and I lost it. I got extremely emotional. And it was then that I realized why we do what we do. And it's to bring people together and care for them like family. That one night was 4,000 people as one. They were a family. And it was the most powerful feeling I've ever had. And from that point on, my wife and I have tried to replicate that every single day, bring 4,000 people together to be a part of something special, moments they'll never forget. And now we try to build it even more with our employees that are 22, 23, 24 years old, give them that family. That drives us with everything. So when we're having those struggles, we believe that we could do it, and we would work harder to make it happen.
Wow, that's powerful. So when you do what you're doing today, how does that translate in every game? How does that translate in your podcast, in all of your marketing? Because like you said, the realization is that you're not in the baseball business, you're in the entertainment business, right? And essentially, you're developing a marketing company. So how does that translate in that? How does that drive that for you?
We've tried to simplify everything. Dov, I think this is a challenge with both business leaders. You ask them, what's their mission? What's their mission statement? Most don't know. Some say it's on the wall somewhere, and some it's this long paragraph that doesn't recognize anybody.
Right.
We simplified our whole business. And the name of the company is Fans First Entertainment. Our mission is fans first, entertain always. And who are our biggest fans? Our biggest fans are actually our employees, our people, because they're the one that wear the merchandise. They're the one that call the parents when something great happens. So we start everything there. And so every day we focus on our people, our employees. How do we love them? How do we actually give them a meaningful experience, give them purpose? And then that translates into our customers. And it's simple. I mean, people starts with us, a game day staff. We say, guys, fans first. What does that mean to you? Take care of people. I go when? They go always. And that runs through our entire company. And we build this on fans first moments. Every night after our games, we come together and say, guys, share your fans first moments. We only talk about the positive. And it's really built this culture of building something bigger than ourselves.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So, because one of the things you talked about, in our previous chat, you talked about how, and I just love this, that you've had 0 turnover in 3 years.
Since we started.
Which is incredibly rare. I mean, you talked about the age bracket of your employees, and I've spoken about this many times on my show with other guests, is that we know, the research is there, I wrote a book on it, that millennials change jobs every 1.2 to 2 years, and careers every 4 years, and you've got people 3 years. So they're almost at a double employee length, which means you've got ROI, which means that your people are devoted and are loyal. If you were to say, if I was to go and interview one of them and say, why? you've probably got other jobs. You might even have other job offers that might pay better, because oftentimes that's the case. And this is one of the things that I think that so many leaders don't recognize. It's, you got to pay your people, and you should pay your people well and value them. But that's not what's going to keep them loyal. So if I went to them, what do you think one of your employees would say back to me?
Care. One word, care. And I think most business owners got it wrong. They think their people work for them. They work for their people. As a business leader, you work for your people, and you need to mentor them and care for them and be there for them. And, it's amazing. I'll tell you one of the most emotional, meaningful things that happened to me. And this shows you how it goes full circle. A short little story. At our games, we try to deliver the best fan experience for our customers. So we have people dressed up as penguins. I call it our parking penguins. We have our pet band out there. We have people dressed in banana costumes, our players. We make it a circus when you come in. So after this past year, my wife and I were invited to a team barbecue. So one of our employees was having a barbecue. So we were excited. And as we pulled up to the house, we saw penguins. And it was our staff dressed up as the parking penguins. As we pull in, our director of first impressions opens the door. And then
Director of first impressions. Let's stop there for a moment.
Yes.
Do you have a director of first impressions?
Yes, that's Kiki. She started as an intern, 22 years old, and she now, whenever people come to the office, she comes up, hugs them, greets them, and she's oversees a staff of 200 now. She's now our director of first impressions.
That is fabulous.
So she opened the door, greeted us, walked us out to our director of tickets, who was dressed in a banana costume, handed me and Emily tickets. We're like, we're going to a barbecue. What is going on? They hand us tickets, and then they walk us into the house and walk us all the way back. They have a private table set up with flowers and with music playing of our favorite playlist, of our favorite songs. They have lights set up. And all of a sudden, our president walks out and goes, Mr. and Mrs. Cole, this dinner is for you from our entire Fans First staff. We have your favorite meal, steak and shrimp set up. So they served that. Then our favorite drinks. The entire staff was there cooking a dinner. And so they're serving us this amazing dinner. Me and Emily are like, this is blown away. And then they come out with an iPad. And they have a video. Every single one of our staff recorded themselves saying how much we meant to them and the impact we've made on them the last 2 years. So Emily, my wife, is bawling her eyes out. I'm getting teary-eyed. Then after that, they deliver our favorite dessert. They come out with a personalized book with pictures from the last 2 seasons, all the fans talking about the impacts that we've made and impact we've had on them in this unbelievable book. At that point, we come out, we hug the entire staff, we thank them. And as we were getting ready to leave later the night, they said, guys, quick, we need to exit greet. And that's something we do at all of our games. We line up the staff and thank all the fans. The whole front office staff lined up and gave us hugs and told us that they loved us. And that was the most amazing, moving moment we had. And I think, I'm not trying to be boastful. I'm showing we try to do that to them and they do it back to us. And the word is care. If they ask you that, I hope they would say care.
That is powerful. If you told me you were doing that for your staff, I'd go, that's amazing, that's great. But the fact that they did that back to you guys without, being told to do it. Wow. That is amazing. That's very, very, it's very powerful and surprising, and you can see why people would be loyal. Now, your book, let's just talk a little bit about the book. So tell us a little bit, let's just start. I'm going to let you jump in. Tell us about the book, why you named it what you named it.
Find Your Yellow Tux. So for anyone not know, I own 7 yellow tuxedos. My last one, the staff.
And in case you're not watching this, in case you're just listening to the audio, this man is in front of me in a yellow hat with these yellow, what do you call those shirts?
This is like a polyester 70s special shirt. The yellow jacket is off right now. It's 100 degrees in Savannah, so I just say that for the night games. But,
right.
But I wear it every day. And I started wearing it in 2011 because I thought, you know what? We're about the show. We're about the circus. I got to look like a showman and play the part. And it caught on. And so I have 6 of them. And then about 2 months ago, the staff brought me together and said, Jesse, we surprised you with a custom yellow tuxedo. So they came together, bought me a custom yellow tuxedo because they said, you look like a clown when you're doing those speeches. We need you to look a little bit better. I go, I still look like a clown, but they got me one that's more form-fitting. So I have 7 now. I wear them all the time. But to answer your question, the premise of the yellow tux is I believe everyone has something that makes them stand out. It's the best version of themselves, not just themselves, but their business. And what does that look like? This yellow tux amplifies me. I'm outgoing. I bring energy. I try to make it fun. This is my uniform. And I think every day you're always on stage and it's always showtime. This is my uniform. Every day I'm wearing this. Hey, I'm ready to greet fans and have fun. So, the book, Find Your Yellow Tux, is what is that thing? What's that one thing that makes you or your business stand out? And really go all in on it. Don't be afraid of criticism. Don't be afraid of what people will say. Believe me, when I'm in an airport, people are looking at me like I'm crazy when I'm getting ready to go make a speech. But it's me. It's who I am. And so the whole premise of this book is to find that. And I give examples of what I call a mirror moment and finding what frustrates you about your business and your industry and yourself and starting there to innovate and going all the way throughout and creating fans first moments. And we've been fortunate. The book has been very successful and it's very unique. It's not like your typical book. Let's put it that way.
So give us an example of that outside of you. You talked about finding that frustrating moment. Can you give us an example of somebody that you've worked with or of who's gotten to that and then has transformed that into a yellow tux moment, if you will?
Sure. I mean, the easiest example is to look at businesses. So for instance, I spoke about a home builder. And you think about when you're going to buy a home, you sign the paperwork, you give them a ton of money, and then eventually you'll have a home. They were so blown away that they brought their entire staff together, and including the spouses, and said, what would be the best fan experience, to be all out from the beginning to the end? And how do we amplify what we do to make it a great experience? Mm-hmm. And literally what they started doing, when you buy a house from them, they send you a video of the whole staff, like a music video, celebrating, throwing money around, signing. They give you an iPad, a Yeti cooler. Then this is what's amazing. They've actually picked up people in a limo and they've taken them to their house on their anniversary, but the house wasn't yet done. It was just framed. And they had a private dinner for them in the process of building their house. They've done red carpets. They've literally had champagne. They go all the way out in this amazing fan experience. And that's really what Find Your Yellow Tux is about. It's finding that best experience that you can provide for others and provide for your life. And companies are doing it right now. They're mapping that customer journey. And so make sure you're doing what you love. I mean, Doug, I am the worst operations person in the world. If you ask me to put up a sign or go to the concession stand and try to cook a burger, good luck. But I am on the field, on the show, taking selfies with fans, promoting. I am doing one of the best at. Most people during a given day, they're putting out fires and they're doing things they're not the best at. They're not, right. And that's why they're more successful. So you put that together with that great experience in a business, and I think you can be unstoppable.
So from your point of view, you don't think of them as customers, you think of them as fans, and you don't even think of them as employees, you think of them as fans.
100%.
Right, and one of the things I love about that is it's polarizing. It will immediately, some people will look at you and go, the guy's a nutter, I want nothing to do with him, whether that's as an employee or even as a fan, and I'm out of here, right? And I'm going to go see a traditional team and fall asleep, have a little nap while everybody plays. Or I don't want to work for that because it just doesn't work for who I am. But at the same time, it's a magnet because it brings to you exactly the right fit.
100%. Well, why doesn't every company look at creating fans? What is a fan? Someone that's passionate about something. That likes to talk. Yeah, they're evangelists. I think, stop talking about customers and guests. Do you have fans? Are people going to go out of their way to talk about you? And that's for employees and for customers. So that's why we look at everything like fans. And a lot of companies don't have fans. They have customers. And they look at it transactionally and not as a relationship.
So let's go there for a minute, Jesse. From a business point of view, let's take a company that's very, more traditional in its way. It does good business. They are good people. They do good work and, et cetera, et cetera. But they've never looked at their people as fans. What would you be saying to them? What sort of guidance would you be giving them right away?
How well do you know your people? So the first thing I would say, do you actually take your people out and talk about personal matters? Do you actually connect with them? We take our whole staff out for lunch individually, and I just ask about their life. We have people do one page or one index card on 3 goals for this year for them, and they're not supposed to be business. So I know that one of our persons is getting ready to propose, and he needs to raise about $5,000. So that's his goal. So how are you doing financially? What are you doing? Are you saving money? You get to know people on a caring basis. So I would ask that question, how often you talk to people not about business, but about things in their life? And I know a lot of business people have challenges with this, but I'll tell you, if you do that and you care, it goes a long way. So, we do one word, a great thing by John Gordon. What's the one word that you want to focus on for the year? It's not a New Year's resolution, it's one word. And we talk to them about their word every couple of weeks. Hey, how are you doing on discipline? How are you doing on your focus? And just connect with them. And it's so simple, but it goes a long way. And we write handwritten letters to our people. I write a handwritten thank you letter about something great in their life. It's just those little points that really make a difference.
Yeah, I can totally see that again at an employee level. How would that translate to somebody who believes they have customers? You know, like I said, they're good, they do good work, but they've never turned their customers into fans and they don't know how.
So if you want to go to customers, here's a great example. So how often you tell your customers thank you? This is a very, very, very simple thing. So for instance, for us, every single person that buys a ticket gets a crazy email that says, congrats, you just made the best decision of your day. Right now, we're running around the stadium, celebrate, make it fun. But then they get a thank you call. This is thousands of thank you calls. Most people think their credit card's not working, but we call every single person a thank you. Then when people leave our establishment, what's that last impression? The last impression makes a lasting impression. We're making sure we're thanking them. You know, simple things. I don't think people go out of their way to send a thank you letter for someone that's been a part of their business. That handwritten thank you letter is an easy little touch to show people you care.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to let everybody know that when Jesse, so I pre-interview everybody before they come on the show. Everybody knows that I have a very long wait list of people who want to be guests on our show, and we have to pre-interview, and we say no more often than we say yes. And so Jesse and I had a pre-interview, and guess what I got? I got a handwritten thank you note. So, you know, the guy walks his talk. Let's just go there. You know, and I think it's profoundly important and extraordinarily rare. But, you know, this is the thing, is that you're doing something that is, some may see as obvious, but I think that, you know, I've often said that common sense is extraordinarily rare.
100%. Well, Doug, how many people live their brand? You know, everyone says we focus on customer service. How often do you talk about customer service? How often do you actually implement it? You know, I think, you know, living your brand is such a great thing, but you need to actually do it. And as a leader, you need to show it every single day. You know,
Yes.
We say around this ballpark, everyone's a janitor. Every single person is a janitor because a clean ballpark's a happy ballpark. If I walk over trash one time, I'm not living my brand. So I make sure I pick up trash all day throughout a game.
Yeah, that's very different than what we're used to, right? It's very different than what we see as the boss. You know, again, I think that great leaders know how to be at the top and at the bottom and everywhere in between.
Yes.
And they listen to the people who are not at the top. And I think that's also extraordinarily rare.
Yeah.
So let's sort of go back in time a little bit. And what were you doing before this?
This was it. So I played baseball my entire life, was hoping to play professional, tore everything in my shoulder. And in college, that ended it. I was done. And I got an email about an internship, a non-paying internship, working on the front office of a team. And I took it. And the first day, my training, Doug, was they handed me a phone book and said, start calling and selling sponsorships. And so I started calling. It was the worst training I've ever received. But I found out I loved connecting with people and hearing their story and trying to solve problems. And crazily, the owner of the team, after 2 months of an unpaid internship, offered me the opportunity to be a general manager at 23 years old of his team in Gastonia, North Carolina. And you want to say the best leadership advice might be from him. Because when I started at 23, I would ask all these questions. And what did he always say to me? What do you think? And every single time he asked, what do you think? And at 23 years old, I learned to think on my own and really become an owner. And I treated it like I owned a team. And a few years later, I bought that team. So I've been in the industry of entertainment and fun since I was 23 years old.
So talk to us about this, because this is another subject which we could spend an entire show on, but I think it's an important one. And that is, here you are, a man with a dream. You want to be a pro baseball player. By the way, at that moment, I was about to give you a new sport, which is football. You can tell I'm into American sports. But, you know, you have this dream, and the dream is taken away by an injury. A lot of people at that point fall into a dark depression. They crawl under a rock. You know, they feel like a victim. You know, woe is me, etc. And you probably had some of those moments. But how did you not stay there and then go from that to the shittiest version, which is you get to be an unpaid worker at a baseball team, which means you're basically going to be watching people do what you dreamed of doing, knowing you're never going to have the opportunity to do your dream. Instead, you've got to get on the phone and call people and ask them for money. How do you not go down the toilet at that point? Because I can imagine any number of people would go, oh my God, I'm going to slash my wrist with a spoon at this point. Just so it takes a while.
I didn't even tell you, the first day I showed up in Gastonia as the general manager, I found out that the team was only averaging 200 fans a game, that the team had lost $100,000 the previous year, and there was $268 in the bank account, and payroll was on Friday. So I couldn't even pay myself the first 3 months. So I never really thought of it, Doug, and I appreciate you asking this, because I realized, why did I go through that? Because I realized that I could make an impact and make a difference. And I think I realized because they were so bad that I could actually see progress. And I've heard progress is everything. And I realized that I could start making an impact and a difference. And I felt it. You know, every day, whether it was one sale, whether it was one person buying a ticket, every day I felt something that I was moving towards something better. Did I have a huge goal? No. Did I ever imagine that we would have every single game sold out and waitlist and thousands at the college summer baseball level? It's never been done before. But it's because I kept realizing I'm making a difference and impact. So I don't want to go too big picture, but if you're struggling, if you're having a challenge, then it's like, all right, well, what am I doing to actually make a difference and impact? And that was it for me. So,
but again, when you talk about, again, please forgive me, it's my bias. And what I mean by that is because I've never aspired to be a pro sports person.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine that somebody who has a dream of being a pro sports person is dreaming about impact. And yet you became that.
I dreamed of making a name for myself.
Right.
That's a sad thing. It was ego-driven. So when I was 12 years old, I was driven to making a name for myself.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that was gone. So then you're right. I thought immediately, all right, I had this other opportunity to make an impact, make a name for myself potentially. And you're right. I probably was driven internally by that. And it was sad. When I found out I never played baseball, I actually had a camera on me and was interviewed, and I broke down. Played it for 20 years of my life. It was over. But then all of a sudden, it's like, ooh, a new door opened up that I could maybe make a bigger impact. As a baseball player, you might not be able to make as big impact as someone that runs teams. And so that changed for me.
But I'm still looking for that piece, Jesse, because I think it's an important piece, which is, was there no, I mean, you broke down, I got that, but was, like you said, the desire to be a pro sports person, pro baseball player is egoic. And I'm not saying it's bad, but it's egoic. And then it becomes, all right, that's gone. And it's easy for us to sit back and go, okay, well, then it was gone. But that's not what it feels like when somebody or something or some situation pulls your dream out from under your feet.
Yeah.
Because when we are that invested, and you said you played for 20 years, when we are invested, there is identity there. And here's what I know because of my background in psychology, is that when we lose our identity, we feel like our life is over.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, and I'm again making shit up here because I don't know because I haven't asked you, but it sounds like you were fully identified with being that guy. Yeah,
if I go back, I would say so. But the weird thing about me, Doc, is I was always a next chapter guy. Always.
See, this is what we're looking for. Tell us about that.
All right. So, for instance, when I made the last out in high school at the state tournament to end my high school career, all my teammates are in the dugouts crying. And I can't wait for college baseball. You know, when I was in the Little League state championship we lost, I realized, I'm going to the AU state championship tomorrow. I always was looking at that next thing. So even when I heard it, I broke down, I took it in for a few days, I said, what's next? And that's kind of been what's driving me. And when I look about in hindsight, in the last 5 years, I either buy a team, sell a team, I take on a new adventure. Every year I'm taking on something new because of that drive in me, I guess.
So if I was to put something on your tombstone, would it say, what's next?
That's actually great. I love that. I never thought about that. You know,
I think you need to own that, mate, because I just pulled that out of you. And that's because this is a distinction in your leadership.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And it's kind of sad in the way to realize that I'm not romantic about a lot of things, that it's I'm ready to move on. And, you know, I just sold the Gastonia franchise. I had that team for 10 years. And my wife was like, doesn't that kill you? You brought it from nothing and you just sold it. I was like, yeah, but I'm ready for the next chapter. And so that's a good point. I think what's next on a tombstone would be hilarious and brilliant.
Yeah, particularly from this guy. So what is it that you would say that, now is that what it is that you're obsessed with? Because I think that the most successful people I've ever met are without doubt obsessed. What are you obsessed with?
I don't want to be a broken record. At first I was obsessed with driving revenue, driving goals, driving myself, making myself on the front of the paper, the front, all that. And then it's changed. And, I've shared it, in my book, but be patient in what you want for yourself, but be impatient in how much you give to others. And I think I'm getting more excitement now of sharing the stories of people that are part of our team and other people. So there's that, battle between what's next for yourself, but also what's next as far as the impact you can make on others. Doug, one thing that we do with our business is we don't talk about revenue. We talk about impact. How many people are we impact? So we realize that numbers work out. The more people we impact, the revenue will take care of itself. So that's what we constantly talk about. And you know what? For millennials, impact is what drives them. It's the money. Once they make a certain amount of money, do they have
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So we talk about that. When we send sales reports, it's about impacts. How many people did we impact at our game tonight? And so that's, I guess, as I move forward to the next chapter, that's what I'm looking at. If we're impacting a couple 100,000 people at our stadium, how do we impact 1 million people? And how can I be a part of that, a little part as is?
That's very cool. Tell me a guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
Oh, we stumped Jesse Cole, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never stumped.
I know that from our previous interview.
I know. I'm always quick. I always click like this.
Yeah.
It made me think, guilty pleasure in the sense is the amount of time I put for myself in the morning. And I'll just be very specific on this. I have a son now. I have a wife. But I know to be able to take care of them, I have to be in a great spot mentally and healthily. So every morning I get up, I run, I read, I listen to podcasts. I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours to myself every single morning. And it actually is guilty now because I start to feel bad that I'm so focused on what I need to do to be great for others. So that's a weird way. It's not like I'm listening to Justin Bieber or Meghan Trainor as my guilty pleasure.
You liar.
I will say this. I've actually been in dancing events where I've done Michael Jackson in the moonwalk. So I can rock out to some Michael Jackson. That is a guilty pleasure. I'll give you some.
Well, that's really cool. So I believe that leadership is growth without a shadow of a doubt. So tell us, what is something that you're still trying to grow in as a human being? What is it that you still maybe struggle with?
I'm catching myself doing it more. It's the self-aware. It's being aware of yourself. As a leader of a franchise, I notice now when I say I or when I say me, and I'm trying to grow to always say we and us. And that is a huge area. I'm noticing it more and more. If I get interviewed, I say, I want to change the game of baseball. No, we want to change the game of baseball. So I think being self-aware and growing in that area will be something I'll be focused dramatically in the future.
That's very interesting in the context of what we just spoke about your aspirations as a pro sports person which is incredibly yet the great players become we. I mean, I'm sure you know better than I do, but there's a great story of Michael Jordan, who was, of course, again, not a big fan of American sports or actually watching any particular sports. I like doing them, not particularly watching them.
Yes.
But, Michael Jordan, who was, everybody knows was the greatest basketball player. He was amazing. Being told to stop scoring. Because he needed to play as a member of the team. And it was only because of the coaching of Phil Jackson to help him understand a team rather than being a superstar or a diva that made him a much better player over time. And that, I think that I understand that being a pro sports player has to have a level of ego to it. That's part of what drives you. But when you become great, then it has to become more about the team. And it's interesting for me as a metaphor of leadership, because I think a lot of people aspire to leadership initially egoically, because they want to, they want to be the guy, they want to be the gal, they want to be the person at the top. And then the great leaders become about something other than that, which is the us. So it's a great statement.
Well, what I've realized, it's one of the most loneliest places, and no one wants to cross the finish line alone. And I've done that. I've done races and crossed the finish line alone. You feel lonely. You're waiting for the others. I want to cross the finish line together. So, the we over me, I think, is something that we're really focusing on right now.
That's powerful. So as we close up the show, what I want to ask you is this. If you were to give our viewers, our listeners, a piece of practical guidance, something that you would want them to go away and do in the next, let's certainly say the next 24 hours, but maybe in the next three working days, what would be something you would have them go do in order to really get what it is that you've tried to share with us today?
The power of thank you. So in 2016, I started the thank you experiment, and every single day I wrote a thank you letter. It was to someone in my life, a colleague, it was an author, it was a family member, an old teacher. It was the most selfish thing I've ever done. And I'm saying that in a way that I've never felt better and about doing it. And I'll tell you, the impact it had on my life was game-changing. The connections, the real relationships. So in the next 24 hours, write a thank you letter to someone. It could be someone close to you, your parents, your spouse. Just write a handwritten thank you and tell them how much they mean to you. It's a game changer.
I absolutely love that, totally believe in that, and I think that is profoundly important. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's been really great, mate. I really did enjoy our interview, and I really want to thank you. And I want to thank you for your patience in I know you had to run around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get wireless and wired and all those kinds of things. But I think it was really worth it because I believe this show had a lot of impact, and I really believe it will make a big difference to a lot of people. Please tell our viewers and our listeners where they can find out more about you, your book, and all the things that you do.
Sure. FindYourYellowTux.com, or just search Savannah Bananas. And I post every single day something on LinkedIn or Facebook, just ideas, 1-minute boosts. And I always suggest, hey, reach out, shoot me an email. I'll never forget, a few years ago, I shot Mark Cuban an email, and within 2 hours, he wrote back. It was powerful. It made an impact on me. So if you reach out, if I can help in any way, I'll gladly respond. I'll never forget that lesson I learned.
Yeah, that's really important. Thank you. Again, loved it. Great having you on. I hope you'll stay with us till the end. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for all that you shared with our listeners. And I want to thank you, dear listener, for tuning in and watching today. And again, I want to remind you, as always, it's no good just to listen. Information is worth the hole in the donut. Transformation comes from application, so make sure you use what you learned today. And remember, you can now chat with us, and with our guests, and with each other about the show that you've just listened to or past episodes by going to our Facebook page for the show, which is the Leadership and Loyalty Podcast on Facebook. And remember, the research consistently shows that one of the biggest challenges facing even the most successful companies can be somewhat counterintuitive, in that fast-growing companies often hit a point where they realize they're spending a fortune attracting, training, and developing their talent, only to have them leave at an alarming rate. And if you're sick of investing in the training and development of your talent, only have them leave before you get your ROI, and come talk to us at fullmontyleadership.com, where we provide you with the essential leadership skills to rekindle and amplify the hidden loyalty assets inside your organization by tapping into purpose. Fullmontyleadership.com, providing you with the concrete soft skills to get you and your organization to the top and keep you there. Why? Because you can't outsource authenticity. And remember, you can also stop by the Matrix, matrix.fullmontyleadership.com. You don't need a W, just matrix like the movie, .fullmontyleadership.com, and get your authentic leadership matrix self-assessment tool. It's valued at $195. Get it absolutely free today. Remember, you can now find us on Alexa and Google Home by simply saying, play Dov Baron podcast. Thank you for sharing the show with everybody you know. Until next time, stay curious, my friends. Stay curious about how you can treat your customers as fans, how you can treat your employees as fans, and how you can just be a little more grateful. Reach out and be grateful. I'm Dov Baron. I'm here to assist you tapping into your deep greatness to reach that next level of clarity, focus, purpose, and profit in your business, your life, and your leadership impact. And I am out.